Next thing we do is just kind of lay a board down on the edge of your table to make sure that the plastic holds while you're cutting it, so it doesn't bind up. Scissors here do a little bit better, I think. Then whenever we get to this point, you want to measure down 12 inches from the top of your sheet. Since it's a solid folded 12-foot sheet altogether. So you just start to measure a foot down. Whenever you have your mark, which will be right here, you want to take the very top layer of plastic and separate it from the rest. Once you have that split like that, you're going to go right across the table with it. And that right there will give you 2 separate 6-feet sheets, which is also, it also makes 2 gowns in that case. Once you have your 2 gowns, you just take one of your 6-feet pieces and place it to the side for later use. Make sure your table's clear so you have room to work. And you're going to separate this sheet out across the length of the table. Once you have that, you're going to take your ends and just fold it over from left to right or right to left. You want to take your end that's not cut and have it together where the open side is on the very bottom. You're going to rotate it up to the top of your stencil. Line this side up. We usually have about 1 inch of overlap on each side roughly, just depending if you got a perfect cut or not. Just doing the exact same thing on both sides so you have an even sleeve length whenever it's all said and done. Plastic laid out and everything's flush. You just lay it down like that. And this is the part where you're going to use your heat gun to seam seal the edges of it. You want to make sure especially that these corners seal to each other to make sure they're done right from the beginning. And when you're doing this with a heat gun, you want to make sure that it's also on low heat. If you do high heat, it'll just burn through the plastic and you'll end up losing more than you intended to. Along the edges of the lines, you should have roughly 2 inches on each side, and then it's time to cut the stencil out for the gown. Then we'll go to the other side of the stencil and do the exact same thing. Now, this is the time where we put rubber bands in the sleeves. We actually have a nationwide shortage of elastic right now due to masks, etc. being made. So we've come up with a method to put rubber bands in them, which does the exact same method, but saves elastic and stuff for where it's really needed as well. For this right here, you'll need 2 rubber bands and your heat gun again. You just take your cardboard sleeve and open it up. Slide this right inside the plastic. Fold your edges over so it has something to secure to. And place it like that. You want to have about 1 inch or so of overlap where you can fold it over the rubber band. And another thing that's important, you want to make sure to have it on both sides so it shrinks correctly. You just take your heat gun again on a low setting. Some of the heavier spots just kind of get a little hotter and melt it. The rest you can see in the middle how it adheres to itself pretty easily. And you just simply remove your sleeve. And that right there makes elastic for somebody to slide their wrist through. Sweet.